the 49ers have been reported to have signed offensive tackle DJ Humphries. Now, the details of the deal aren't out yet, so we don't know for how much. We don't know what the guarantees are. We're not sure. He played most of his career at left tackle. He did play 1 year at right tackle. But he was, when healthy, not last year, but previously, an all-pro player. This is a starting offensive tackle, and a lot of what you and I were going to get into, and probably still will, is just the lack of the 49ers, and specifically Kyle Shanahan prioritizing the O-line. So my original, when I first saw this on my timeline, I was like, oh my God, this is wonderful. We've been begging them to do this. I have to be honest, I didn't know a ton about DJ Humphries, and then I was learning more about him. He tore his ACL. He didn't play last year. So much. He was so injured to the point that if I have this wrong, definitely correct me, but prior to the Super Bowl, I think they tried to have him at tackle coming off that injury, and he played so poorly that they ended up having their guard move out and play tackle instead of him. So
when healthy, not really about how he plays. It's just he was still hurt.
Okay. All right. See, I wasn't, like I said, I'm learning about this guy. You know a lot more. So definitely, if you can, tell us what you know about DJ Humphries. Like I said, I know he was previously a good player. He's older. He's 31 now. But
right. He played, he started for Arizona and played every game in 23. So he has a lot of experience in the division recently, which will help.
Love that.
He's a solid player. He's not a great player. He's not overwhelming. 6'5", 307. He played at Florida. But, I think he's reliable. He's somebody that they can use as their backup swing tackle. Made the Pro Bowl in 2021. But we'll have to see of just which version of DJ Humphries have we got, because he's still coming off a torn ACL. So when he tried to play on that in the Super Bowl, he really couldn't go. Where is he at now? Physically, we'll have to see. But they're hoping that at some point this year that he'll be back to who he was. And if that's true, then they've got a solid backup tackle. Because if their plan was the backup tackle or the backup swing would be Spencer Burford, it might be that Burford starts depending on how things shake out at left guard. And you can't have your starting left guard also be your swing tackle. So, therefore,
asking a lot out of Burford, who couldn't necessarily play guard correctly last time he tried.
Yeah, and it's not like Spencer can clone himself. So you need to sign a tackle. They did. And this is a guy who's proven in the NFL and knows the division, but we don't know where he's at in his recovery from the ACL.
I have a question, and this is conspiracy theory territory. Because you were saying, if healthy, maybe he can be a backup swing tackle.
Sure.
If he's healthy, there's also the possibility that he's already better than Colton McKivitz, because prior to his injury, he was better than Colton McKivitz.
Yeah.
So he could potentially play at right tackle on the other side of Trent Williams, which would be wonderful if he was an upgrade. He's only done that for 1 year.
But it's unlikely because Kyle and Chris Forrester like experience in the system. And so McKivitz will get the nod simply as a function of that, where they want the consistency of the cohesion of a unit that's accustomed to playing all five on the line, and they get value from the connectivity of five guys who have played together and played in the system. Therefore, even if you have a player who's clearly, by the PFF grades and everything else, a better player than Colton McKivitz, Kyle's still not going to start him. So I think what we're looking at here is a backup tackle, and they're just hoping he's healthy enough that he can serve in that role when called upon.
Okay, and even that, I'm not completely opposed to. Like, I'm glad that they would sign someone, because right now Trent Williams is on track to miss multiple games a year, and I hope this year's different. But he, in the last, I think, 4 seasons, have missed 3 to 5 games each season. Multiple, by the way,
except for 23.
Yeah, and multiple of those are due to that same ankle that he kind of just keeps re-injuring, and that really took him out last year more than it has in previous seasons. Trent's getting older, still suffering with injuries. So it would make me feel nice instead of it being Jalen Moore to have this guy if he was an upgrade. Getting into the real conspiracy theory of it, though, because like I was saying, I would love if he was healthy that there was an actual competition in camp between him and Colton McKivitz, and maybe he could take that. But if the 49ers really want him to be at left tackle, is it?
I don't think so.
Is it possible that Trent Williams is going to retire and or demand a trade? You and I kind of addressed the retire thing. Trent Williams
I keep saying
wants
this,
money.
Yeah, I keep saying the same thing. I'm just the pull the string on the doll, and it says Trent loves his money. Trent loves his money. Trent's not retiring, and Trent has said repeatedly that he loves his money and he'll play out his contract, and that's exactly what I expect him to do. So Trent has 2 more seasons left, and then he'll reassess. Kyle would love for him to continue to play. Kyle will play him until he's 50.
Trent, you're 55. Go back out there.
Kyle being Kyle, he's going to let Trent play as long as Trent is willing to take the field, and Trent wants his money, so Trent will take the field. I mean, it's just it's sort of this codependency between Shanahan and Williams for different reasons. Now, I'm not expecting Trent to continue to play after this contract, but we'll see. I would expect, though, that in terms of DJ Humphries, while you can clearly say he's a better player than Colton McKivitz, you have to factor in how the Niners think. And how they think is we want cohesion, all 5 in the offensive line playing together. We want guys that are familiar in the system. You know, it's never about the talent with Shanahan and Forster. And we have to get over that because that's how they think, and those are the decisions they make. Good or bad or indifferent, that's what they do.
Jonathan Pierman in the chat says, swing tackle, question mark. Maybe he is used to being a starter. He has to be better than Colton. I think what you're saying is even if he is technically better at Colton, maybe the 49ers and Chris Forster give more credence to someone who's been here, and continuity is the word they always use. Right. Continuity with the system. You've been right all off season. So I'm not saying you're not. I hope you're wrong.
Oh, me too. Me too. I pick the talent for once. Sure.
Yeah.
But it's not the Niner way. It's not how they think.
I think hopefully we'll find out a little bit more. Like, we won't have to wait till actual camp to see if he's engaging in some sort of camp battle. Hopefully we'll find out more when we see his terms. They might be able to give us a little bit more of a hint as to what he expects to play. I'm with you. I definitely don't think Trent's retiring. Is there a possibility that Trent, like, if he demanded a trade, he would still get his money, right? He would just go to a different team. I just don't see him. He
would still have his current contract. But if you're Trent and you're saying that not only do I want my money, but I want the possibility of continuing to get my money if I want to still play.
You want to stay with San Francisco.
You want to stay here because Kyle is the only one that's going to continue to placate him.
Because other teams are going to be like, you're 55. We love you. You've been great, but we got to get off. But Kyle doesn't ever want to draft an offensive lineman. So he's like, this is perfect.
Right. Trent enables Kyle's non-drafting and non-signing of offensive linemen. He allows Kyle to do this. He allows Kyle to get away with it. So Kyle will love. Trent Williams says, I want to keep playing until I'm 45, and Kyle's clapping his hands and smiling. Just saying.
2 opposing 49er content creator type people and their takes on DJ Humphries, and I kind of want to read them both to you, get your opinion, and then we can move on to the rest of the breaking news from today and this week. But I thought this was funny because they were kind of back-to-back on my timeline. So starting with Grant, he says, Grant Cohn, he says, when healthy, DJ Humphries is the 3rd best offensive lineman on the 49ers behind Trent Williams and Dominic Puni. Do you agree with that?
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah, at full health, DJ Humphries is inarguably the 3rd best lineman on the roster. However, would Kyle even care? No. That's my point.
Got it. And then, so I read that and I was like, this is positive. And then right under it, Kyle Posey of Niners Nation, respect both of these guys.
Yeah, Kyle knows his stuff.
DJ Humphries missed most of 2024, recovering from his torn ACL. He also suffered a hamstring injury in his first game with KC and never played a meaningful game for a team with OT issues. In 2016 was the last time that Humphries played right tackle, for everyone asking about Colt McKivit's job. I wonder if he's open to changing back, ... But seems like it would be a long road with all the injuries and the missed time. So then I read that and I thought, you have to put yourself in my shoes. You know who this is. I was just like, oh, offensive lineman. Is he good? Is he bad? Is he a starter? Is he not? So I read former all-pro player. He's a starter. He suffered this injury, but he's healthy now. I'm like, great. And then I read Kyle Posey's and I'm like, multiple teams have had O-line issues. No one decided to trade for him. Kind of put me on like, yikes. I was like, maybe I'm overselling this. So
no, I think Kyle is correct in his assessment that given the injury history, you don't really know what you have yet. So what the Niners are doing is just saying that we need a tackle, and if DJ Humphries can get back to where he was, he can help us. And that's what this is about. But in a vacuum, you can say Humphries, technically based in his past play, is the third best lineman. That doesn't mean he's going to start over McKivitz, though.
So do you expect, and this is obviously all we're guessing, do you think the deal will be more of like a 1-year prove it deal type thing versus?
Probably, maybe 1 year guaranteed and then the second year kind of thing. And then you'll just see how he plays.
Love it.